Hi, my name is Dr. Jennifer Green, and this video is about the PEOs, or Program Educational Objectives. And this is really important for those of you going for ABET accreditation. For those folks not doing this process, you may still find it helpful in thinking about where your students are going after they graduate. What do you want them to be able to do? And you may need to do similar types of objectives if you are applying for other accreditations. So, what is the PEO? Well, they are Program Educational Objectives, and they are broad statements, and I'm going to show you some examples from American universities, and they are really quite broad, that describe what graduates are expected to obtain or do or be successful in within a few years of graduation. So we are not talking about what can they do at graduation. That's the PILOs. But this is, once they've graduated, what skills, what ability, how are you in your program setting your students up so when they get a job, they'll be able to grow into that job? How are you setting them up to be successful as an employee in a career? And program educational objectives are based on the needs of the program's constituencies. So a constituent might be employers. In fact, that's a big part of it. It might be an advisory board. It could be former students, alumni who've gone on. It could be families. So there's lots of different groups. And if you go onto ABET's website, and if you look at previous or other universities like applications for ABET, you'll see examples of who their constituencies are to help you figure out who yours might be. Okay, what more can I say about them? Well, a good PEO has several characteristics. First, they align, again, these constituents, with their needs and with the institutional mission. So what is the mission of BAU, and what is the mission of the engineering department or other programs, and how do they work together? So how are you communicating with each other to make sure that your mission is sending students out successfully? These statements need to be clearly defined for a variety of audiences, meaning that if prospective students read them, if employers read them, if you read them, everybody understands and has a shared understanding of what these objectives are. They also can really help to serve as a focus for early career development. We are not expecting, although some students start their own companies, but we're not expecting students in the first 3 years to have their own company, to be CEO of a global empire. What is the focus? How can we help set them up to be successful? These need to be relevant to the specific profession, although, as you will see, a lot of them are general enough that you could tweak them a little bit and make them relevant to another profession. And they need to be achievable and realistic. So let's look at a couple of examples. So here's one from the University of Houston in Texas and the Mechanical Engineering Technology program. So I've taken these directly from their websites, and you can also Google example ABET PEOs or PEOs Engineering U.S. Universities, or however you want to find it. But these are statements that describe the expected accomplishments of graduates during their first few years of graduations. And here they talk about who their constituencies are. And then we can look at their PEOs. Notice, once our students are out in the workforce, they should be able to, again, that instead of saying they have the ability to They should be able to, and these all start with verbs. So we have pursue careers as successful professionals in mechanical engineering technology and related fields. Because we know not everyone gets hired in exactly what they majored in. So related is good. They used pursue again. Pursue what? So again, we have the verb and then the noun. So pursue, noun. Lifelong learning opportunities. Okay. Why? To improve and expand their technical and professional skills, including graduate degrees. Okay. So the first one is about being able to do the job. And the next one is we will also want them to keep getting better and better. Then advance. So not just stay where they're at, but move. So advance personally and professionally by accepting professional and societal responsibilities and pursuing leadership roles. Maybe they take lead of a team project. Maybe they do work in an incubator and they start their own as one of the starters of a company, right? Leadership can look different in different situations. And adhere or follow the highest level of professional code of ethics. Okay. So we have doing the job, getting better, taking on leadership, and being ethical. These are the 4 points that the University of Houston really wanted to make sure this is where they want their students to go. So let's look at another example. This is Auburn University. And Auburn's PEOs actually takes 3 slides, so bear with me. The first one, they've identified as technical skills, which University of Houston, also their first one, was a technical skill. Our graduates will, here's our verb, apply, the noun, their technical proficiency. For whom or for what? For the professional practice of chemical engineering or any other career path they choose. And this one gets a little more specific. They have 3 sub-points. Utilizing engineering skills for productive, gainful, and ethical careers in chemical and related industries. Have a background that allows and encourages those who are qualified to pursue advanced technical and professional degrees. So University of Houston talked about lifelong learning, and that's where they included advanced degrees. Here they put it under technical skills. And have sufficient breadth, brain power, space, ability to make a successful transition from being a student to being an employee. So we had technical skills, now we have professional skills. Our graduates will contribute. That is our verb. What will they contribute to? The professional practice of their chosen field. How will they do that? Through effective communication, leadership, teamwork, and service. Okay, great. And there's this extra piece of information, while also exhibiting high ethical and professional standards. University of Houston, if you'll remember, had ethics as a separate PEO. So you can see some of the same themes and ideas across these 2 universities, but they're grouping them a little differently. So you, as a university or as a program, need to think about how do you want to categorize and group your PEOs. What is important and of high value to you in your context with your students, with the employers that hire your students, right? What's key, what's critical. It's going to look different across different universities. The final 2 PEOs, are environment, safety, and societal issues. So in this case, the verb is apply. Our noun, high standards, where in the performance of their professional work. And so not just professional work, but there's a specific element to it regarding global and societal issues, including health, safety, and the protection of the environment. Because when we're talking about chemical engineering, we need to think about health, safety, and the environment. The fourth PEO is lifelong learning. Our graduates will continue. This is our verb. What will they continue? Lifelong learning. How will they continue lifelong learning? Through professional activities and training, the pursuit of higher educational degrees, and individual professional improvement. So they mention higher educational degrees here, and they also had it here. But this is the background that allows them to move into professional degrees. And here it is actually going for those degrees. So it's a little different. But they mention the importance of advanced degrees a couple of times. Okay, finally, we have another university from the state of Texas. And you can pause the video and read these and see if you can find the verb, the noun that is at the core, and then the additional information. So pause the video and see if you can now read these with a careful eye. Okay, so you read them. Do you see some similarities and differences from the other two universities? University of Houston and Auburn. And again, if you go online, you can find even more universities to compare and contrast how they wrote them. But they have verbs, strong verbs. They have the noun that the verb is related to. They give some more detailed information. So as you write your PEOs, take into consideration your mission, your values, your context, and thinking about verbs and nouns and how your objectives are put together. In subsequent videos, I will be talking about those verbs and how you write objectives. Thank you.